Welcome to the Endless Honeymoon Podcast. It's the host with the most, Moshe Kosh, and of course, my assistant, Natasha.
Have you noticed that cardboard smells like dog shit?
I have noted. Why did you bring that up?
Oh, because you were saying the mic smelled.
They didn't know that, though. That was off mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But the mic smells like straight up cat piss. No joke. The mic, every week, our mics smell like cat piss, and we've got new one. We go buy new ones.
We don't have cats.
We don't have cats, and it's not
We're
the
praying
dogs.
that our dogs die.
Because we go. No, you are. You know how many people came up to me at my shows in Raleigh this weekend, asking me how Pablo was and if Pablo was still alive. People at the Bell House, the honeymooners showed up, and honeymooners stand up, and they were all saying, "How's Pablo? Is Pablo okay?" And everybody, Pablo is doing just fine.
How big would you say the thing is that's attached to his eye now?
He's got a sty, and it's definitely.
Would you say it's bigger than a marshmallow?
I would say
a
it's
small
bigger.
It's the size of a small marshmallow.
I would say it's probably exactly the size of your heart. Not a joke.
I feel like my heart is bigger than a marshmallow.
Not when it comes to Pablo. Now, Pablo, come up here and let's hang out. Hopefully he doesn't start coughing. Pablo's doing good. Pablo lives.
Basically, Pablo is on this medication that is making him seem like he's a heroin addict on St. Mark's.
He
Moshe.
definitely does.
He just starts like spiraling
He definitely
downwards.
does do the nod. He's nodding off a little bit. It's actually weird because when he takes the medication, you would think, and it made me have a newfound understanding for heroin addicts, because you always see heroin addicts kind of doing that nod, and you go, "Why don't you just find a bench, dude?" I don't know how good of an editor our producer is or not. I don't actually listen to this podcast, but our child just came and interrupted, and she is so funny when she has a bad dream.
Oh, it's like
She stops using what are those words? The connect words, conjunctives, or is that an eye infection? Ands and does and I and pronouns, and I don't like pronouns, but she's like, nightmare, head explode. That my nightmare. It's like talking like a caveman all of a sudden. Head explode.
Well, I went in there to say goodnight to her before our podcast, and it was in the dark, and she said, "Mommy, why do you have so much makeup on?"
She could see it.
In the dark.
Well, you've been doing that weird.
I didn't think I had that much makeup on.
Well, you've been doing that weird.
Put on some
Kim Kardashian contouring thing.
God,
Why
no,
do you do that?
I'm not
That you
do-
contour your face like that?
Shut up.
I get why you do the Botox. I get why you do the lip filler. I get why you're doing the constant citrus human piss laser peels and stuff like that. But the contouring.
Okay, hold on. Speaking of our child, can I just say this really depressed me? Tonight when I came in, you guys were looking at sparkly jackets, and then she said she wants to get a jacket like an LOL surprise girl. I never let her watch that show. When we see that icon on Netflix, I go past it. How are you home one day and now you're shopping for that jacket?
By the way, you don't even know the half of it. Because,
What's a LOL surprise girl?
well, it's an LOL surprise doll.
Oh.
And I was actually there tonight, I believe, for the first time our child ever said LOL, because she struggled with it. She's like, I want to look like a. It's hard to say. LOL. And then I was like, you mean LOL?
She doesn't know what LOL means because she's 4.
She can't pronounce it even. And then by the end of the evening, she was like, LOL surprise doll, LOL surprise doll, LOL, LMFAO, laughing out loud, laughing my fucking ass off. She had like mastered it, and she just kept saying it. But I swear to God, tonight I go, what? The L. She sounded like a boomer trying to say it.
Poor girl.
Poor everybody. We're on the fucking precipice of everything falling apart. Tonight is Sunday, then it's going to be Monday, and then Tuesday, and then goodbye, America. But that's neither here nor there. We should be fine. Natasha.
How will it affect you, Moshe?
This whole idea of like you either have a good nation or Hitler is so fake. Most nations outside of like a very little teeny sliver are in somewhere in the middle of like of a progressive liberal democracy and a fascist nightmare like Mussolini. You know what I mean? Most countries are kind of like they just kind
Doesn't
of
like Italy have a woman in charge? Like every country has had a woman in charge except
Italy
for
has
us.
a fascist woman in charge.
Okay,
actually.
well, I'm just saying we're the
What
only.
are you saying?
I'm saying that in a way, America's never elected a woman. So
In a way, not in a way.
I mean,
That is the way.
I'm just saying that like tells you a lot. Maybe it's worse than you even think it is.
I mean,
Maybe things are already worse than you thought.
well, they are definitely worse than we all think it is. Did you watch that hypernormalization documentary? Right. Mm-hmm. That's a good documentary for those out there that want. If you're out there and here's a suggestion. If you're out there and you're feeling like TikTok is numbing your brain and making you feel like you can't pay attention to anything, I have got a 3.5 hour archival news footage.
But it's on YouTube, so that's a plus. You can access it at any time.
Over a maudlin British man reading an essay that he wrote that's 2.5 hours long, unbelievably dense and extremely disturbing. But anyway, that's its whole. Are you good? You getting naked? What are you trying to do? Some Patreon content over there?
Pablo wants to breastfeed.
He's gonna attach that little sty to your nipple and get some of that mother's milk on it. Oh, Natasha. Oh, this is so nice to see you so matronly with our child Pablo, with our stepchild. Anyway, whatever. Why did I even start talking about politics? Here's what I started thinking about. Basically, the slide into, you know what, we're just a regime that kind of sucks for multiple generations and you just kind of deal with it. That's the more common nation, right? It's like Iran and and Turkey and Belarus. And a lot of nations are just like that. They're like, yeah, the government's completely fucked, but that not like the government was good before. This is the thing that I think like Gen Z folk miss is they go, but it was always corrupt. And it's like, yeah, but for a long time we had a theater of it being stable. And theater is important.
Was there theater in the 60s? Wasn't that all
Oh, yeah.
upheaval?
I mean, it's all fake. Obviously, in the 60s, there was literally legal segregation. Obviously, it was fake. But the projection of the illusion of stability actually is good. You know, it's like the wizard, like Oz was in better shape when they believed in the wizard than they were when they realized it was just some dude, some fucking snake oil salesman who got lost in his hot air balloon, right? Like, they were in better shape because they thought that there was a leader that had great power. And once Oz goes back to fucking Kansas, well, now Oz goes into chaos because the reality that they've been living with, which is that nothing's really in charge and that everything's essentially chaos, becomes extremely clear to the Munchkins, to the Scarecrow people, to the brownies, to the witches, both good and bad. How long can you extend a metaphor? Are you asking? I can keep going. But at any rate, that's what hypernormalization is all about, is that the job of every government is not actually to be stable, because it's not possible to be stable when you have a population this big. Life and society is essentially chaos. The job of the government is not to not have it be chaos, it's to project an image of not chaos, right? That's the same thing that that currency is based on, right? Money is only based on our belief that money is real. I mean, money's not real. Money is like a piece of paper that we go to Target.
It used to be shells.
It used to be shells. There's a story about one of the first monetary systems was these big stones in I think like a Polynesian tribe, was these big like round stone wheels, and they were transporting one of the big, they're very heavy stone wheels from one island to the next, and the boat sank and the fucking stone fell off into the sea. And rather than just go, we lost that money, the people in that island go, okay, well, we know that we saw the stone sink, so therefore the stone at the bottom of the sea, we'll just accept that is money because it makes no difference. That's essentially all a dollar is. It's just an illusion that we all decided to believe in. So much so that there have been countries where they had incredible inflation and currency devaluation, and the way that they I think it was Brazil or Argentina, and the way that they solved their currency devaluation was not to do anything economically, it was to do something psychologically, where they would print the unbelievably inflated amount, right? Like it was so bad, hyperinflation was so bad in that country, I think it was Argentina, that you'd go to the store, you go to the mall to buy some sunglasses, and they'd be $50, and you'd come back the next week and they'd be $100 because it was just like out of control. So they started to do this thing where they would print the how much money it was, the number that it was, but then next to it they would print what that number really represented in terms of it's 100 Argentine dollars, but really it's about 20 American dollars or whatever. And people looking at that other number made them have confidence in the currency again, and they slowly got control of their currency. The point is, everything is an illusion. Everything is chaos. The job of a government is not, in fact, to stop the chaos. It's just to make the people believe they don't live in utter chaos. And by making them believe that, and you might even say by living in some sort of placid kind of illusion where they're hypnotized into believing in stability, they are actually able to create realpolitik stability. So how will a terrible election denying rule of law goes out the window? Let's just do it cowboy style, and whatever gets our team to the finish line goes. How will it affect us? Is it very slowly, as the projection of any stability starts to diminish, we will just become a place where we accept that we live in a non-functioning government, where the government just does what it wants. It follows no rules.
It goes back and forth to like, you want this. Well, you can't have this. And then they're like, we're taking away this. So we'll fight for that. And you never like have consistency.
Well, worse than that, you have cronyism. You have the whole system of checks and balances and rule of law starts to slowly crumble until all of a sudden you're living in a semi-lawless, where there's one set of rules that apply to the government, and then there's one set of rules that apply. Already, I'm not denying, already most of those things exist in our country as is, but they don't exist in full naked repose. Anyway, Pablo takes Torbadol, and it makes him...
he really does seem like he's nodding off, but on 8th and St. Mark's and 2nd.
And it makes me understand where they're coming from, because I look at Pablo all day long as he stands there and his little butt like will fall out from underneath him, and I go, why don't you just lie down? Just fucking lie down and you wouldn't be falling over. But there must be something pleasant about the experience of being upright while being almost unable to hold your balance, which is the precarious situation that our country finds itself in today. It's still upright, but it's about to teeter and fall. Tosh?
Yeah.
They should order your book, but should we take a call?
I guess, yeah, you're in a weird headspace, but why not take a call?
I'm feeling a lot of dread. But I'm still in a good mood. My whole thing in life...
I think you're feeling dread because you spend a lot of time online.
Of course that's true.
Well, just spend more time with your family and don't really look at your phone, and then you'll feel less
My
dread.
family is more depressing than what I read on Twitter. You're right. Of course you're right. You're 100% right. Everything is dire.
Like you've been
online.
sitting in a Hilton Garden Inn in Raleigh for 4 days.
Actually, it was an A-loft. It was very nice.
Looking at your Twitter feed. No wonder you're depressed.
I'm not. Raleigh was a very charming city, a very nice city. I'm not. But they need to do some work. This is not a joke. I Googled things to do in Raleigh, and one of the first things that came up
was the A-loft
No,
lounge?
one of the first things. One of the first things that came up was a airport shuttle to get the fuck out of Raleigh.
Honey,
I'm not even joking.
I hear you. Okay, listen, we got someone waiting for us. We're gonna call Stephanie and Travis, not in Raleigh,
in Atlanta, Georgia.
in Atlanta.
What's up, Steph? What's up, Big Trav? How
Hi,
you guys feeling?
Travis.
Hi. What's up, Natasha and Moshe?
How you guys doing?
Who do you guys relate more to, me or Moshe?
Oh man.
I'm a Moshe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. Everybody's a Moshe or a Natasha. It's kind of like Sex in the City, you know?
I'm a bit of a Natasha, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
This is good. It's really split down gender lines. And the truth is, the two of you, I assume, are a romantic couple. But
Yeah, husband and wife, yes.
look like brother and sister. The 100% look related. And I think that's got to be in the mix of why you wanted each other so much.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Yeah, it's real.
I actually used to think that husband and wife had to look like brother and sister.
That's what it would attract you? It was like an Oedipal kind of thing?
Because we had like neighbors who had like the same hair. You know, like they just seemed like brother and sister.
I actually just found out that they didn't, so that's big for me.
So that's actually why you pursued Stephanie in the first place. You're like, well, you look a lot like my siblings, so this must be love.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool. All right, well, how can we help?
So we moved.
Wait,
into this
before
neighborhood
we let you go, I have to tell you an anecdote that I once hooked up with a girl, and I wonder if I've told this story before, but I once hooked up with a girl and we had sex, and it was a little not great. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of average, awkward. It wasn't. It was nothing to write home about. But as Robert Hawkins, a great comedian, used to say, what sex is worth writing home about? He'd say, "Dear Mom and Dad, I got the best piece of ass last week." Anyway, Robert Hawkins, who I believe is... Anyway, whatever.
Do you have a story about Robert Hawkins?
No, it just reminded me of a bit. Anyway, she wrote me like a week after or a month after and was like, "Hey, that was fun to hook up. I'm sorry it wasn't, more exciting. The truth is, it was weird for me because I can't actually experience sexual pleasure unless I am engaging in my sexual fetish, which is where you pretend to be my brother." And which I was like, I don't know how I would have reacted in that case. Anyway, go ahead, Travis and Stephanie.
So we moved into this neighborhood about a year and a half ago, and quickly found out that the neighbors that were right next to, like, our driveways touch each other, are very busybody neighbors who are sort of always in our business.
Yeah.
And after about a year and a half, we finally set our first boundary with them.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Which we thought was pretty tame.
What was
based
it?
on their reaction, specifically the husband, we kind of wanted to know if we're being assholes.
What was the boundary?
Well, this particular incident was, so much has happened in the past before this, but what happened was about 2 weeks ago, we walked outside and he's like super into his yard and stuff. And their yard is very beautiful. He loves yard work. We have different priorities in our house, which is fine. And he had mulched a large part of our yard and put stones around it to match his yard, like part of our garden. And I just sent a text and I was like, "Hey, not a big deal, but would you mind just checking with us before you do yard work in our yard? Thanks." And he got all defensive and was like, "I just had a bunch of extra mulch and I thought you guys would appreciate it," all this stuff. And ever since then, he hasn't made eye contact with us.
He took away the stones and he won't make eye contact, and it's he's acting very weird towards us now.
How high can you plant some plants?
Natasha's, by the way, you've called the right podcast, just so you know. Because not only have we had issues, but also...
I'm an expert in privacy hedges.
Natasha's got so many strategies for privacy. She perhaps is the most private, desiring person I've ever known in my life. And we're in the middle of growing some hedges right now.
I just think that because it's better than a fence. Like, you can grow like Eugenia or ficus, and they start out cute and small, and then you have a wall of green in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And like, I just think the more you don't have to see people and you can be really nice to them when you see them, but then like, you don't have to like have a shared wall, and also give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, give yourself, I don't know, give them a few more inches or something, and just have your wall of privacy, That's what I would do.
The great lie that people tell us when we're young is that if you're like open and communicative and set boundaries that make sense, that you're going to get good results.
I wouldn't talk to them.
There are unbelievably unstable people in the world, and you don't need to worry about being assholes. You need to worry about building fences.
And also, you want to have like, they're right next to you, so you don't want it to be weird. So I think it's like, the more you can just smile and be nice and cool, and I don't know why you exchange numbers with them, but
Well, the other part of it is that our kids are friends.
Oh, what?
So that's like the other wrinkle in this.
Our neighborhood is a lot of families.
We
and there's
can't
lots
help
of, like,
you.
gathering, and we're gonna see him like all the time.
Like all the young kids all hang out with each other, and like we had a block party the other week, and that's where he didn't make eye contact with us. Like, all the kids are playing, and I was like, "Hey." But
listen, if he doesn't want to make eye contact with you, then fine. I mean, I wouldn't let your kids spend the night at his house. But
Yeah,
like
they're gonna come home with
you can be there.
a mouthful of mulch. You send them home in the middle of the night, just like.
No, we actually don't let our kids spend the night at their house.
So listen, I mean, what can you do? You don't have to chase his ass, like you said the thing. Now you can just be nice and available and open. If he wants to come talk to you, he can, and you're there. And hey, how's it going? You kind of want to just like my MO is kind of turn into a robot. Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. Oh, hold on. I need to go find Ethan. Hey, oh, great to see you. Hey, how's it going? Just like be like a nice robot.
I feel like that's exactly what I've done this past week because he always walks outside when we walk outside. Like we will go out to our car and he'll always be like, "Where are you guys going?"
Wait, that's why I'm saying you got to like plant some Eugenia.
Where are you guys going?
Yeah, and he'll say, "We're going to dinner." And he's like, "But where?"
It has to be specific. It has to be specific.
That is.
But now he's not talking to us, so I guess that kind of resolves that problem.
I mean, to be honest, the minute you said he's avoiding eye contact with you, I was like, oh, lucky. Like, isn't that exactly what you want? Like, the truth is, what I was going to say, the great lie is that if you set boundaries, people will be, respectful and you'll get your way. But they didn't account for the fact that there's just unstable people out there and they will not respect your boundaries and they'll get. But he didn't actually sound aggressive. He sounds like he's butthurt. And that's kind of like great because don't you want this guy to talk to you less? What are you feeling guilty?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, and I think it's just like that energy at those events. I mean, I guess that's just like our own anxiety that we need to deal with, but it's just
what
like
events are you talking about?
Have a conversation
Neighborhood gatherings?
Yeah.
For what?
They must live in like a hot cul-de-sac.
What are you talking about? Like how old?
We do. We live in a little.
How old are your kids?
They're like, we want to go play with the other kids.
How old are your kids?
I mean, by the way, can I just say, as a parent of an only child, this sounds like a dream. If I could just let her loose out the door in a cul-de-sac and have like 6 friends.
If we could just have our unstable neighbors that are constantly peering into our window, figuring out where we're going to eat dinner, just watch our kid. That does sound nice. Wait, but like, so you guys have like neighborhood. We live in Los Angeles where if you go outside, you're murdered or your car is robbed immediately. Like no matter what, every time I've gone outside, I've been stabbed. So you guys like have like cul-de-sac gatherings?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like during the summer, like the kids don't have school, so they'll be playing with each other all the time.
Like between houses and stuff, which we do love. We love all of that.
But what's the gathering part? It's like holidays? I'm just trying to wrap my brain around what you're worried about.
They honestly host a lot of events at their house for the like neighborhood group, which I think is part of it. I'm like, I don't really want to go to their house anymore, but I also don't want.
They also know when we're home because they're always in our business.
Yeah, so if we like
say no.
If we say we can't go, he's like, "Are you sure?"
I think how big is your between space yard?
It's a strip of grass and the gardenias I planted that he now waters.
Here's a better question. Is there any space that you can see where you could get more privacy physically?
It doesn't sound like it, right?
We could put like bigger bushes in that area, like between our driveways, but it's like our driveways are almost touching.
But I'm asking how much space do you have from your house to the driveway that is almost touching?
You got to get some space from that.
30 feet.
Okay, so yes, you have space to plant ficus. And I think ficus is your friend. And that, I think...
Dude, when I moved into my house, it was just an open space. And I remember like someone was helping me paint. And this woman just like walked into my yard and like demanded that the painter jump her car.
That's like definitely something he would do.
This guy walked into our house uninvited one time and started working on it.
But that's why I'm saying like I built a fence and no one can come into my yard.
What's cool, I know it's a little late. Now he'll see it, but the cool thing about plants is that they grow very slowly. And you got like a 15-year plan. You'll plant.
No, but it takes 2 years. That's why ficus is amazing.
But what I'm saying is Wilson, your neighbor, is going to not notice. He's just going to think you have these little bushes.
Buy him short.
Yeah, buy him short.
Hey, and keep being nice to him.
We're inspired by you. We like gardening too.
And definitely, and give him an extra like 6 inches if you can,
right?
On his spot, because your things are going to grow out.
Then slowly over time, he'll start to notice that it's creeping up, and he'll be like, "Oh, what? But what is he going to say? Your bushes are tall? Like there's nothing for him to say. And then they'll just be 6 feet tall. And then you just will have your space to yourself. And the only time you'll see him is when you walk out of your house onto the street or go to one of these gatherings. And then you're just polite. And then he goes, why'd you put those bushes in? And you go, oh, we like, you don't like them? I mean, just profane ignorance.
Also, another cool thing I'm noticing is that like I'd say 40 to 70% of people have just an earbud in their ear. So like whenever you see someone, like sometimes when I'm like walking through wilderness and I see some guy that I'm scared of, I'm just like, I kind of smile and pretend like I'm talking on the phone, like even though I don't even have an earbud in.
Yeah.
Like you can just kind of always like be on the phone, distracted, your kid, hey, how's it going? You know, and
But
then
they
you like
can't
got
do that.
something.
They can't do that.
Why?
Because they're living in this like Americana cul-de-sac community. There's no option for them to fully pretend.
We're in Atlanta. Like we're not like in a.
I'm not saying you guys are small town pea brains, okay? All I'm saying is that the community you're living in, it wouldn't really allow you to do the kind of thing where you're what we would probably do, which is just be like, hi, and walk the other way. That's not an option for you because you
But
guys,
you can still always be pretending you're on the phone.
that doesn't make sense. They live 12 feet from each other. He'll be like, why are you always on the phone?
I'm always on the phone. I always got an
Okay.
earbud in. I'm taking rolling calls.
One thing we did notice, here's a story from our life. We had a neighbor when we moved into this house, and we paid $9.8 million for this house. No, we didn't. That's a joke. I just was trying to flex. No, we moved into this house, and we moved the heater for there's a hot tub, and we moved the heater for the hot tub from inside of the yard to like just outside of it to build a fence around. It's not very loud, but the person across the street from us started having like conniption fits. I mean, she was like, "My dog! I had to take my dog to the ER because its hearing is being affected by the frequency of the pump." And then another day, she came over 1:00 in the morning, banging on we had a guest, and she banged and woke the guest up to complain about the pool pump. And then the next a week after that, she said she called the city because the pump was going, but it wasn't going. It was a vacuum cleaner. So finally, I built this. I spent like $1,200 to build soundproofing around the thing, and she finally kind of went away. And then we were like, okay, she's gone away. And then we got her a holiday gift. We got her like all of our neighbors, we got them like chocolates for the holidays. And as soon as we did that, she just started showing up at our house again, ringing the doorbell, complaining because we had reopened the kind of like lines of communication.
That was really dumb.
But that's what I'm saying is like people.
I didn't know that though until I did that.
Right. So it's like once you
Because
have.
I don't share reality with that person. So how am I ever going to see eye to eye? Why would I ever want to have a conversation about what is reality? Because to her, reality is coming over to my house at 3 a.m. or when I was vacuuming and she came over and thought that there was like, I don't know what.
We were vacuuming at 3 a.m. because
the vacuuming was in the middle of the day and she thought it was the pool pump.
Right.
And I was like, I'm vacuuming.
So
And she's listening to your vacuum.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm just saying, why would I want to engage in any conversation with this person?
Yeah.
But here's the thing about boundaries is that they're not actually difficult. People say, oh, setting boundaries is difficult. Setting boundaries is incredibly easy. It's holding to those boundaries that is difficult.
And what are the boundaries?
Well, they set one. Hey, don't fucking landscape our yard.
Without asking. Like if you had been like, we have some extra mulch. Can I put some in your garden? I'd probably been like, okay.
Go for
But
it.
you guys shouldn't have a shared garden wall. Like that's the thing. Like fences are civilized. If you can afford it, you have to get a fence.
But he would.
And you never have. You can look at your neighbors 90% less.
Yeah.
If you get a fence.
But what I was saying was about boundaries. But you set your boundary, right? He reacted poorly to it. And now your instinct is to go, I'm sorry about the boundary. Maybe we're assholes. Maybe we're assholes for setting it. That's the problem with boundaries. It's never setting them. It's always following through with them. You've now set a really clear boundary. Hey, next time, ask. His feelings are hurt. You have to hold the line. You must hold the line. If you capitulate, if you go to him and say, sorry about what I said, sorry, are we cool? If you do anything like that, then it's back to him being like, oh, good, I can do whatever I want. Oh, yeah. So you realize you fucked up. You fucked up by ever checking me on super inappropriate behavior. Got it. I'm back in control. If you stay the course and say hello, and maybe it means being invited to his little gatherings less, then, or maybe it doesn't, but just be polite, be kind, but stay firm. Then then next time he doesn't have an excuse. I guarantee if you go to him and try to make peace with him, then he'll do something else because he'll see it as like, awesome, I got him.
Yeah, and I'm glad we called because I was thinking about doing that, so I'm not going to now.
I don't mean to be a jerk.
No.
You were thinking about doing what?
Like being like,
just being like, it seems weird. Are we cool?
Yeah.
You know, just like because we're around each other all the time. Like,
and Moshe, you're saying that if you say that,
if you say, hey, it's implying that, hey, when I asked you not to terraform my yard, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend you when I asked you not to do that. You know what I mean? It's like,
right,
oh my God.
like I didn't like his answer. Like if he would have been like, oh, I didn't realize, I thought that was my yard. But if he's like, oh, well, I had extra mulch, I'm trying to help you.
If you want some peace,
that's exactly what he said.
If you want some peace in your community, I do have an idea. You don't have to go to him and scrape and be obsequious. You could have a cul-de-sac gathering. I don't know what it is you guys do, a potato salad contest or some sort of bunt cake off, and invite him. Because you should be acting like nothing's weird, because you know what? Nothing's weird. There's nothing weird about telling your neighbor not to put fucking mulch in your yard. That's normal.
I feel so sane now.
Yeah.
That's normal behavior. So have a cul-de-sac gathering and invite him. Hey, would love to see you. Oh, you could make it.
But still act like a robot.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying, if you want peace and softness in that relationship, which it sounds like sort of you do, there isn't the one option, which is to go to him and say sorry. There's another option, which is just act like everything's normal and invite him over for something. He will come because obviously he needs the approval of everybody and he wants to be the mayor of your cul-de-sac, and he'll come and
he 1,000% wants to be the mayor of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, you got Karen over here, old Ken. What do you call him, Ken?
Well, listen, guys, just try to like think about other stuff and it'll pass. Don't exacerbate it.
Yeah. So to wrap up our advice, Ficus is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Do not apologize when you do nothing wrong. It's like apologizing to somebody for getting mad that they stole your money. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I told you not to steal my cash. I shouldn't have talked to you in that particular way. Don't apologize. Be friendly and pretend you're on the phone. That's what we think.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I want to move to a cul-de-sac like that. That sounds cool.
You would hate it, honey.
Community cul-de-sac.
I mean, all right, here's what would be cool. 5 families, you like 3 of them. I think I could live with that.
That's difficult though, because the 5 families.
So fun. That's how we should all be living in cul-de-sacs of like with 3/5 of your friends.
No, I mean, but the problem with things like that actually are that they're really awesome ideas and it is how we should all be living. But on every cul-de-sac is one of those guys. You know what I mean? You're never going to get a perfect sack. It's just not available to you, right? You're always going to have a wart on your sack. Always. You're always going to be like, oh, I love this community we've gotten, except for Ken. And
right,
then you're
and
fucked.
Ken could be the guy who's like, oh, I don't want him around me.
Yeah, that's why good fences make good neighbors.
There's no way to get a cul-de-sac without that guy. What if you have 3 friends that you want to buy a cul-de-sac
Let's
with?
think about our block. Okay? How many of our neighbors do we like? We like 4 out of 5 of them. Do we have any troublesome neighbors? We got a wart on our sack. You know what I'm saying? I love our next door neighbors. I love our next door neighbors on both sides. But there is somebody in the area who I wouldn't use the word love. I would use the word pray for a natural disaster.
There's also a lot of like vans parked around.
Well, those are our unhoused neighbors. That's different. Okay, let's do another
someone
call.
else.
Why don't we do another call?
Okay, can we take a call? We're going to call Jillian in Los Angeles.
Calling from the liberal hellscape, the war zone itself. Los Angeles, California.
Jillian.
Jillian from LA. Jillian, we're so close to you right now. We don't know what neighborhood you're in, but we're neighbors.
I like your tree behind you.
Thank you. So nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. God, we were just talking about how Los Angeles is so scary. You know, you can't even walk outside without being robbed and murdered. You know what I mean?
I know, especially here in Encino.
Oh my God, Encino is it might as well be Mogadishu.
Hey, Jillian, question about the nails. I see that you have like long black nails, and I've seen them a lot lately. They look hot. Good. I like it. But like, can you do everything? Like, can you make a sandwich?
That's not what you're really wondering about.
I want to start somewhere.
Can you wipe a sandwich?
I can do everything. The hardest thing is opening a can.
Oh, interesting.
Like the can of dog food, you can't get your thumb to rest on the top to pop the can.
Interesting.
That's the only thing you need a utensil for. That's it.
They look cool.
Thank you.
What's going on, Jillian? How can we help?
So this isn't a romantic advice question. However, my question is, I have had the same best friend for 23 years. And as of, I think 10 days ago, she has now sided with Kanye. And I am a Jew.
Wait, people side with Kanye?
Yeah. Sure. I
no
guess
way.
Yeah. And
is that mental illness?
Jew,
well, let's hear it. Let's hear it out.
Yeah, it's messy. So she is not Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
I am. And she, on a FaceTime call, revealed to me that she believes Jews control the media and that Kanye didn't really say anything that bad. And that the only reason that people were posting the I support my Jewish friends thing was because Jews have more resources to do that. And so my question is,
Jews have more resources to do what? Make posts?
To get the word out, as opposed to, say, the people of Iran. And that's where she was coming from. And
well, she is right. She is right that you've never seen another marginalized group in the midst of a hate situation have any sort of hashtags or posts. We've never seen that before.
Never.
That was the first time in history that we've seen that.
Never in the history of social media have we seen this.
Okay. Coney 2012. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that happened. And then through a series of, I kind of just let her talk and didn't really want to say anything, because the one time I did speak, I said, well, as a proud Jew myself, she said, you don't have to say you're Jewish, Jillian. I know. So I just kind of let it go. But since then, we've only exchanged a couple of voice texts because it's not safe for us to speak in real time. But
what do you mean it's not safe? You'll fight?
It's too, I can't get a word in, and it's too heated of a subject because it's so stupid. And so, and since she's a friend of Bill W., the messages I've been getting are just I take accountability. I thank you for teaching me, but it's not never did she say, I don't believe Jews control the media. I don't believe that Kanye didn't say anything that bad. It was just a lot of program talk.
God, I hate that so much. Natasha, I don't know if you can relate to that, but there's...
Oh, when people call you up and say they want to give you their amends?
Yeah, there's this specific kind of language where it's like, you're just parroting something your sponsor told you to say, or it feels so disingenuous and fake that it might as well not be an apology. But yes, is it... Okay, go ahead.
I'm like, do I throw away this friendship? Of course, my parents are like, anytime you say anything anti-Semitic, you're done. You're out.
No, yes, you throw away the friendship. You don't have a friendship. No, there is no friendship. You have a friend who revealed themselves to be harboring like
anyone who thinks any race is something. If you think all this are blank, like there's something wrong with you.
Absolutely.
And you're not really someone who is evolved and worthy of, for me, like if someone was just like, oh, all of blank are blank, I can't really be friends with them.
Yeah, this is not easy. It's an easy answer. It's certainly not an easy emotional situation. This is incredibly difficult. But I mean, listen, the last 2.5, 3 years, everybody is crazier. Every person, every single person, including me and Natasha, as hard as that is to believe, but including you, including your best friend, everybody's been pushed by this sort of toxic sludge that we've been swimming in for the last 2.5 years and 4 years before that and 10 years before that. But we're all crazier. Social media has made everybody nuts. But your friend has revealed to you that either she has become radicalized against. I mean, listen, I would hope that you would not be able to continue this friendship if you weren't Jewish, right? But it's you. I mean, it's like what? I mean, try to imagine I call you and I'm a black guy and I go, hey, I've got this best friend of 23 years and, I just found out, he just, the Kanye thing set him off and he's like, black people are all like this. You would just be like, what? Oh, your friend is racist. You have to, that's not your friend anymore. I mean, that's to me like a non-starter. This whole idea, Natasha always accuses me of being too into time served in a friendship, right, Taj? That's like,
oh, I don't know. Is that a thing I say?
Yeah, that nostalgia is so important to me that I'm like willing to kind of accept things that are not really acceptable just based on the amount of.
I'm the same way, yeah.
Of like, hours you've put in.
Of hours in and years in, and we were this together. We've been sober together. Are you sober as well?
Yeah.
We're sober in the trenches together and we went through all that. It's just like, but this is a toxic relationship that is no longer serving anything. Like I think racism is a very simple way that I would cut a person out of my life, specifically my race. It just seems so simple.
And it's not like I'm hiding in the shadows. I mean, I have mezuzahs everywhere and I'm very proud of being Jewish. So it's not, I mean, this is something that's she was at my bat mitzvah. So I'm not hiding anything. It's just, and it's all because of Kanye, which is so crazy. And she proved my point.
But she's just reacting. She's reacting to this thing. So I think it's just time to like not be there in her zone for a while and just, ignore her while she like figures out her life. Seriously.
Yeah. She kind of tried to backtrack on it in one of those, programmy voice notes I got. But again, never once said, I don't believe these things, just said, I take accountability and thank you for teaching me. I'm sorry, I just remembered the nuances of anti-Semitism. Nuance. It's very nuanced to say Jews control the media. So
is that a quote? Was that a quote? Jews control the media? Yeah, I mean,
she sounds very susceptible too. So clearly, someone's like telling her things that are affecting her, and she's like reacting.
Yeah, Kanye.
Well, I mean, look.
I keep trying to not give credence to him. Like, are people really just listening to Kanye? I mean,
yes.
But he's like, doesn't he seem mentally ill?
I mean, to be honest, like, there's no way that your best friend of 23 years.
It's like saying like Britney Spears. She said it. Britney said
but there's this weird
that Jews are bad.
No, but there's this weird phenomenon that
she was holding her nipples and then like showing her asshole in her swimsuit.
You're gonna they're coming for you. The Britney hive.
Free Britney.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, it's very similar. So
no, but there's this new thing that's happening in social media and in the world in general. It's dick riding powerful men. Who are dick riding unstable, powerful men.
Oh, so people think he's great just because he's successful?
There's just a thing. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Kanye West, they all have this kind of thing in common, which is that people are, and honestly, there's examples of people that aren't just kind of leaning right. There are examples on the left too. I'm trying to think of an example, but at any rate, there's these examples of people that no matter what they do, no matter what they say, people will ride the dick because they I don't know what it is. It's this like weird thing in the water right now. Like you can't see the forest for the trees because you're too enamored of the person saying it.
Like a fempire. Or like a manpire.
That is the closest thing we have on the kind of the more left-leaning side is like a kind of a inability to see what Hillary Clinton did wrong or like or like, don't ever talk about Beyonce. I don't know, but there's this particular thing that's happening now, which is the dick riding of unstable, powerful men. I don't quite understand the phenomenon, but like no matter what Elon Musk does or says, no matter how obviously stupid it is, there will be people that are just like, that is good. It is good what happened. He's a genius. He gets it. He's playing 9-dimensional chess. But this is what I was thinking. I just don't believe that your best friend of 23 years, who you've known, who came to your bat mitzvah, heard Kanye West 3 weeks ago say Jews control the media and now believes Jews control the media. I don't.
No, people are really dumb right now, Moshe.
It could be.
They're like TikTok is their god. They're like, oh, I don't go there anymore because TikTok said, or I read this because TikTok said.
I like the accent of the classic TikTok user.
I'm just saying, like,
I like
people aren't like
hashtag cook talk.
They're not in reality anymore. So maybe this is part of it. I don't know.
So you know this person from before the program?
Yes.
So you're like an old childhood friend.
Yes, I've seen the whole journey, and she is a susceptible person. She is, and she's also a huge Kanye like fanatic, and so that's why there is a link.
You do believe that it really is because Kanye said it.
Well, this is my thing. It's like I think that's the reason she said it, or that she felt emboldened to do so, which is the problem he's causing everywhere right now. But clearly those thoughts were in her if she's saying them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is tough. And this is something that Jews just have to kind of deal with. And it fucking sucks. Like, I remember when Nick Cannon had his like outburst about Jews.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. To be honest, I don't give a fuck what Nick Cannon's. I don't know Nick. And I certainly don't know Kanye. I don't actually care what they're saying. It's all about people like your best friend. That's actually the problem, because anti-Semitism is this kind of weird simmering thing that's always kind of like beneath the surface. And I'm sure racism and transphobia and all that stuff has similar characteristics, but anti-Semitism always feels just this like kind of ever-present thing. And when someone says it, then all of a sudden these things bubble up. And as like the thing that was heartbreaking for me during the Nick Cannon thing was all of a sudden two people in particular that I had been friends with and thought that I mean, I wasn't as close as you. It was a lot easier for me to say, fuck those people. But people I'd known for years who I was friends with were just like, where's the lie? I would see that on like social media. And I'm like, oh, do you hate some part of who I am? Like and it's always, I don't mean you.
Also, imagine yourself not liking a group of people. It's like, would you ever be like that? So,
I can't believe she's like that.
But then I'm just saying, if someone's like that, they can't really hang, like you can't really be friends with people who, imagine you thinking that all Italians were something, or all black people were this, or all Asian people were this, or all Jews were that. Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Not to sound like stupid, but it's just kind of just think about you being like that.
I mean, I think it's absolutely abhorrent, and I was just thinking, well, am I just being too sensitive or something? Like I said, my parents, they know her too, so they were like, she's done forever, and it's hard to just go. It's like ending a relationship when we would talk every single day. She knew everything about me.
You would talk every day until the Kanye kerfuffle?
Every single day. Not only every day, but multiple times a day.
Seriously, if you are that like inspired by Kanye, I know
something's up. Big up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
something's not right.
Well, here's
maybe he's like a poster child, is that the word, for lost people? Are people like attaching themselves to him because he's so crazy?
I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about anti-Semitism, and I think about it a lot. And this to me is like one of the heartbreaking realities of just like being a Jew. And it's actually one of the it's actually more heartbreaking and it's more heartbreaking and less difficult than the kind of racism I don't want to compare anything. My point is, a lot of people who are more that the racism is more surface level. It's more obvious sometimes. This is a guess. I could be wrong. Please check me if I'm incorrect. Where people stand. But being a Jew, because you do have this kind of like passing privilege and white privilege, and you walk through the world in this way that you kind of are like blending in, it's very possible to live your whole life and go, oh, I don't even think I've never been affected by anti-Semitism. It's just never. I'm from California. It's just it's never come up, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, like that's something that you believe. Like it's this bizarre particular.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's this bizarre particular. Like I don't feel that my black friends are shocked by instances of racism because they have experienced them out in the world, in the wild, with regularity. Yes, obviously, a black friend would be shocked by his white best friend all of a sudden revealing that they had harbored racist sentiment because they've been listening to Kid Rock. But no, maybe not Kid Rock, Ted Nugent. But this is like to me, a very particularly Jewish experience where all of a sudden you were walking along, being naive, enjoying like the privilege of just being a white passing Jew in America. And then all of a sudden you're like, my best friend thinks this stuff? Like what? How did this happen? And I just think like, unfortunately for me, that's a deal breaker. Like you have a complicated and deep relationship with this person. So it is possible that you could give this person one more chance, but I would not give this person one more chance via text message. I would say, depending on how valuable this relationship is to you, which it seems like it is, I would say something like, I love you. You've been in my life forever. This wasn't a small thing or a thing that you can make right by sending me a voice message. This was a gigantic shock to me, and it almost and maybe did destroy our relationship. But if you want to do the work to repair that relationship, here's 5 books on anti-Semitism that you can read, and then
you should just give her an IQ test.
I mean,
yeah.
All I'm saying is, like, if you want to give her another chance, it shouldn't be, okay, well, I love you, and so let's get through this. To me, this is my feeling. It should be, I need you to check out, I need you to do a deep dive on all of the things that you're thinking and really literally read.
Why does she want to get into a conversation with
This is her best friend of 23 years.
She's like, but Kanye said that all of their last names are Jewish. How do you argue with that? I mean, I don't know.
It's very frustrating. I'm very frustrated by there's this whole idea that
if you're rich, you have the right answer. Why would anyone even listen to Kanye? Wasn't he into Trump and trying to rabble rouse?
Well, there's many people like Trump as well. He's probably going to be.
This girl does not, though, and that's what's so interesting about. I feel like this new, and I kind of said this to her in my message, was this is sort of this new version of anti-Semitism I'm seeing brewing with this Kanye situation, where it's like, well, I'm woke and I am for everyone and I'm not biased against anyone, but the Jews, they're up to some shit. And it's like, I don't see how I can forgive that, really. I'm just in a very difficult.
Well, I think that's a legitimate position to say, I can't get past that. And I think you should tell her I can't get past that. But but I don't know. I mean, if this is a relationship that is worth salvaging, to me, I would suggest that getting past it would mean her getting some education around this stuff in the way that it would make somebody feel, and then you guys kind of figuring out if it's even possible to work through it. This is gigantic. I mean, it's like you could be married to somebody for 23 years and find out that he's been cheating on you with your sister, and you also would end that relationship. There are certain things that are red lines when once you pass them, the relationship is evaporated.
And do you agree that, and this is working through that in my head, it's like, I don't doubt that she, maybe would read a book about something, but that just the fact that she had those feelings maybe is enough. I don't know, because I've never had any feeling even close to that. So the fact that those feelings are inside her and inside her enough to voice them, that's heavy. That's a big deal.
Friendships aren't supposed to last forever. I'm sorry.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's true. And they evaporate not just because of gigantic, dramatic situations like this. People grow apart. And
some last forever, but, not all.
Yeah. I mean, I have a feeling this person's brain has been going in some odd direction for longer than you maybe have been aware of, because I just don't see that one day Kanye says something racist and you're like, yeah, I'm in. I just feel like there's something else happening in this person's life.
Yeah, it was that quick too.
But you probably already knew that your friend. I mean, was she the most stable person in your life until this week?
Couldn't be the more unstable person I've ever known.
Absolutely. Sometimes one day you wake up and you realize, oh, this person's been I've been accepting weird stuff from this person for a long time. It just got loud enough that I can no longer accept it. I mean, yeah, is it weird for you to walk away? Not even close. For me, if I'm trying to figure out what it would be like if a best friend of 23 years all of a sudden said some shit like that to me, yeah, it would be over. That'd be the end of my relationship with that person. But I think people like that do need to be educated too. So I don't know. This is tough, but I'd say, yeah, I would moonwalk out of there, come to the annual meeting, and we'll, if there's one thing that'll make you feel better, it's swimming in the golden coin pool that we all gather at every year.
Well, good luck.
The golden mikvah pool.
Yeah.
Good luck, darling. And
thank you.
Just every time you get rid of one friend, a new friend appears.
Thank you so much. And I just want to add one quick thing, just a fun thing. Moshe, I just want to tell you that I hated Tyga. Mm-hmm. And then you guys played Dope at the end of an episode of The Champs like 15 years ago, and I still listen to it. So thank you for that.
You're making people like Tyga, Moshe?
You got Neil to thank for that. I guarantee you I didn't put the Tyga track there.
It's a fire song, I have to say.
Shout out to Neil Brennan.
It is truly fire.
Yeah. It is whoa. It is truly fire, and I love TikTok. What I love is Tyga talk.
Okay, well, just stand your ground. Just do it. You can do it.
Thank you.
I don't see that you have another choice, really. I mean, it just seems this is such an obvious thing. I mean, this whole idea that there's a nefarious... Are Jews overrepresented in the entertainment industry? Of course they are. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of Indians in the tech industry as well. But nobody ever says like, the Indians are gathering together with their code magic to control the levers of power. It's just like only Jews are this like fucking warlock people that couldn't possibly be successful in an industry without having some like bizarre master plan. I got no space for that. You're fired forever. Yeah, you're out.
Not to be confused with being fire.
Being fired, like Tyga.
Like Tyga.
Who is a strong supporter of the Jewish people.
Undoubtedly. He wrote Dope.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck.
Good luck, honey.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the help. Thank you.
Goodbye. It makes me mad. Shit like that makes me so mad.
Tyga?
Yeah. That people think I put the Tyga track at the end. I'm just pissed. Fucking Neil, man. No, I hate that shit. I hate that. I wrote about it in my book recently.
Imagine teaching your child that all blank are blank.
And then your child goes, really? Oh, really? All Bangladeshi people are secretly violent? How do you know that? Oh, well, it's because a singer I like said so. It's just like, what rock bottom logic? Like, oh yeah, there was a singer that I like that said that.
I remember when I was in 7th grade, our psychology teacher was like, yeah, like if a German person breaks into your house, you'll hate German people. And I remember thinking like, that is stupid. What is he talking about? Don't send your kids to public school. Okay, listen.
Send your kids to public school.
If you have a secret, leave it for us at 213-222-8608.
Or you can also email us at endlesshoneymoonpod@gmail if you would like to be on the show, asking for advice in real time.
Also, subscribe to our Patreon.
Our Patreon is great.
Some really fun events coming up.
I'm about to drop a couple more mixtapes, actually.
That's not what I was talking about.
But also there's that.
And go on YouTube. Listen on YouTube. It's the easiest way to listen. And subscribe.
Absolutely. And order Natasha's book.
Come see me on tour.
And I love you.
I love you too.